The galaxy far, far away boasts not only exciting duels between the forces of good and evil, but also a wide array of utterly unique characters and creatures. And with every cinematic installment, such diversity and imagination only increases. So with that in mind, let's take a detailed look at every creature introduced in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Welcome to the Cankers and Star Wars Lore Episode 198, The Creatures of The Force Awakens. Other than Hoth or perhaps Mustafar, Jakku was one of the harshest planets on which to live. Not only was it a remote desert world populated by some rather unsavoury characters, but its scorching bursts of heat and graveyards of doomed starships made for brutally harsh living conditions. This left transplanted creatures and parasites in an ever-evolving state to stubbornly exist among Jakku's desert ecology. Take the aptly named steelpeckers, for example. Without knowing their name, one would assume their diet consisted of small mammals such as rats or, heck, even fellow birds. However, these tough, ill-tempered and iron-beaked creatures chose to feast upon metal. Yes, metal. They were drawn to the magnetic signature of starships and pieces of metallic scrap alike, and would collect vanadium, osmiridium and corundum in their gizzards to break down each meal. If you thought a metal-devouring bird was strange, then prepare to be shocked by lugabeasts. These cybernetically enhanced beasts of burden hid behind armour plating and purified air and water recycling tanks. In fact, their many invasive mechanical systems enhance the endurance of each creature to unnatural levels, all while ensuring they were fed at all times. They essentially became nothing more than tools for Teedos to scavenge amidst Jakku's golden sands. Habibors, on the other hand, well, they were far more natural. For one, they simply utilised thick skin and an ability to consume and store large reservoirs of water to resist the planet's deadly heat. And while Habibors obediently carried supplies dozens of kilometres at a time, akin to the aforementioned lugabeasts, they were strong enough to do so without the use of any synthetic plating. But Jakku wasn't the only planet introduced in The Force Awakens to conjure imaginative species and creatures. For example, Maz Kanata's castle on Takodana spawned the likes of the Barghest, a small dark-skinned pet whose mouth of razor-sharp teeth made it the perfect bodyguard of Onidon forger Gwellis Baranaj. Oh, and before I forget, his name was Isby. Yeah, real menacing. Aside from Rathtars, which you can learn all about in my separate lore video linked on screen now, the largest creatures introduced in The Force Awakens have to be the nocturnal Night Watcher worms. These colossal beasts exceeded 20 meters in length and possessed huge maws with multiple blue tongues and rows of deadly teeth. Yet their true nature was rarely seen. In fact, Night Watcher worms spent the majority of their time underneath the surface of Jakku, with their long necks and glowing red eyes being used as some kind of periscope. This very appearance is what lent them the title of Arconan Night Terrors. I mean, the resemblance between the two is uncanny. But aside from providing nicknames, locals speculated as to the Sandborer's method of catching prey, claiming that they detected vibrations from the sands above before erupting upward like some sort of, I don't know, leaping sarlacc. Yep, I have just caused many nightmares for the next few weeks. I apologise. Anyway, such characteristics often drove scavengers away from the sinking fields and the Goazon Badlands, although their diet primarily consisted of metal objects and other forms of junk. So there we have it, a detailed look at the various creatures introduced in The Force Awakens. But now it's time for this week's question. Of all of the creatures mentioned in today's video, which do you find the most unique or compelling? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to vote for next week's episode by participating in the card poll on screen now. Also, to have your say in future lore videos, head on over to thecharactersans.com and get voting. If you learned something new from today's video, be sure to leave a like. And for weekly lore content, press that subscribe button and notification bell to keep it locked here to the Charactersans.